All right, guys. So we are now headed in to our fourth game of the day. I am WTF Moses, joined here by Matrim, and we are going to see a nice, easy playing path up the middle of the map. And for now, it looks like we're going to see, I hope, some change-ups here from our top teams, looking to try and regain some momentum here.
I think that's going to be the story. Now that we're 3 rounds in, everybody's got a feel of where the drops are going to come through. Everybody's going to kind of play around with it and try to figure out ways to get around this. We've seen a lot of very centralized circles, specifically in the first 2 rounds. We might start to see a couple of these guys play a little bit more center, so these teams that drop really far to the east and west might make a play around it, but we always know we end up with a military base circle at some point. So it's a matter of trying to play around that. We've really seen military base be abandoned by most teams so far.
No doubt, and with this plane path allowing for so much flexibility, FaZe is going to stick to what they know. They are headed to Milta Power. Method headed back towards Gatka. So now for these teams, Space Station Gaming having an initial great start, something none of us were expecting coming into the first couple of games. You know, they have some flashes, does Space Station Gaming, but not a lot of consistency.
Well, they've been really performing today. 2 round wins back-to-back right off the start just to make a statement on it. I gotta say, they've been hitting some crazy shots too. But round 3 wasn't necessarily the strongest for them. Now, speaking of teams that are trying to make their way up a little bit here, FaZe, I know one of the big commodities. A lot of people used to talk about the fact that this was the FaZe era of PUBG. They were just so dominant. But then at PGI EU, they managed to come in right below that spot to qualify for Berlin and not had the strongest of starts today.
Looking at the map, we actually see Fuzzface headed right at Texas from the Knights. He does grab that, and he's punching out the tires. So for Fuzzface, he knows Texas is right there. There's nothing they can do about each other, but that little bit of BM from Fuzzface saying, hey, guess what? I've got a vehicle, you don't.
Well, and you can still drive it. It's just not very fun to drive at this point, so Texas can make some type of use of it if he wants to. You can see, gonna slow roll it. He's coming back over there. We've all been in this situation before where we have to drive the super slow UAZ while it's making all the sparks back behind it as you're riding on the rims.
That's a bit of a bunk vehicle there for Texas, who has to limp his way. And really, that vehicle's not going to be doing much for their team, and that is such an important factor here in these early games, securing those vehicles and keeping your team flexible for movement, as FlyQuest, speaking of flexible, is already on the move.
Well, a big part of that, too, is we're going to see Texas be so late into the looting phase. They kind of do this odd drop way over on the western side. He's going to come into this really late. They're not inside the circle. Another very centralized circle here. If you're Method, you've been really happy with all the circles coming through here. Gates is also in a great spot. Just a couple of the guys that are on the far sides of it, like Ghost, they're going to need to regroup and make their way into the circle. FaZe as well, and they know that they have to avoid going through Vitality, so they're going to have to do a large circle around.
Speaking of Vitality, a relatively quiet start for them. A team that has been inconsistent, something that they were not known for up until very recently. So for Vitality, sharing that Milta region with FaZe, at some point they are going to have to meet each other. But for these central circles, something we've been seeing through the early part of today, what do you think Vitality has to change?
It's hard to say. We've seen them have like these little moments where you can see them hit these great shots. It almost seems like their rotations seem to be one of their hard parts that they're dealing with right now. And that's kind of what happens when we start seeing some of these NA teams and EU teams playing against each other. Whenever EU plays together, they know where all the rotation points are going to come at. They know where the other teams are going to go. They're very, very pattern specific in EU. North America tends to be a lot more free and loose. They'll go, hey, I feel like going here this time, or I'll go to this other spot if an exact same circle happens, just based off of where they feel will be good. And I think that's kind of throwing Vitality off of their game.
Speaking of being throwing off your game, Envious spending most of their time in that Novo region. Envious never, well, now I can't say never, but very rarely do we see them anywhere else other than South George, which has been taken by FlyQuest. So Envious jumping early in the plane path, trying to grab that Novo area. Is this something you think is beneficial to them, or is acting more of a detriment?
It all depends on if they can rotate out. And we can see with the way that the circle is set up right now, there is just a smidgen of military base island still inside the circle. But the question then comes, do you get boats to go back to the main island if necessary? Popping over here with shots coming through. Moody really, really wants to get this kill. He wants to make sure that he does not let him get the loot out of this. Looks like he's already making the transfer over, getting it loaded. Now this is going to be very bad for Moody, but lots of damage coming on to Andy Pyro there.
Andy's got the Auzom and the Car 98. He does not have any way to deal with that. No! Andy doesn't know where that grenade went. Oh, another one! The nade's not going in his favor. He's got Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and not a good throwing arm. Andy Pyro going for that initial crate drop, makes the play for the risk, but is not rewarded.
And that's going to be a kill coming out here for Moody and all kinds of presents. I love how Andy's trying to circle around the crate, at least make it hard for him.
Wow, that is super tough for Method, having Andy go out as the first player in this game. Not only that, but now it's just the frantic shots from Molman trying to avenge his down teammate, prevent Moody from grabbing that crate loot. But he looks to be safe at this stage.
This is going to be very interesting. Method loves to play for choke points. We see them very regularly finish off around Pachinki, and then they'll go hit like a hillside or where they think that somebody's going to transition to. Try to get a lot of kills off of that. Losing a member this early might make it a little bit harder to make a play such as that, because now you're putting yourself in a much riskier
Moody's
spot.
in trouble here.
And yeah, Moody now in the exact same spot we just saw Andy in.
So it's up to Cloud9 now to determine, is this worth holding on to? Because now they're having their vehicles taken out as well. Moody is essentially trapped, so this is mutually assured destruction right now. Method also wasting time, however. They're not getting loot. They're not getting those meds they're going to need for the late game, and you can see now Molman having to back this off. Cloud9 is going to get away.
And this pays off for the guys from Cloud9 because they got the kill, they got the loot. The whole time the guys from Method were caught up inside this fight, it slowed them down, just like you were talking about. How much loot did they get? A reposition out coming out, trying to get a little bit of extra damage. Moody does need to crest back up that hillside, and you can see that's going to be a hard run,
there's
but
the
Moody
AWM.
with a great shot.
Wow, coming back from
needed
Moody.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Moody striking back. So right now it's Cloud9 and Method getting at each other. He's going to get the rescue mission here coming in. So that's going to be Cloud9 picking up a nice knock, no kill, but Moody lets him know.
Yeah, and that's just a great performance coming over there. And again, that's a lot of down damage coming through here. That's going to be some damage onto the helmets, onto the armor. That's going to be meds that Method has to burn. They're already in kind of a rough spot. We got our guys from Alliance, though, making their cross over the bridge. We tend to see not a whole bunch of bridge camps happen in competitive PUBG, but they are one of the teams that do like to hold one of those styles of positions. They have to know that maybe only one team can come the direction. But Space Station Gaming looks like they want that spot. That gas station tends to be quite popular amongst players.
It's such a low portion of the play zone. For now, Space Station Gaming just in their initial rotate, trying to find somewhere to hang on. They don't really need to move just yet. However, based on probability, that circle will likely shift away from that lower end of the map. So for Alliance and Space Station Gaming, they're going to be inhabiting the same general area. You can definitely tell Alliance is aware of Space Station Gaming.
One of the things that we can see on the map right now is everybody's trying to convene together. We've seen a lot of very centralized circles. Team Gates is fairly spread out right now, though. You can see that they have one member around the school area. They've got another one just to the south of that, and then two more off in the distance. Everybody's already regrouping now, so they're going to have to make sure that they either decide to play this separated out like this, or they need to regroup.
Alliance taking some initial shots at Space Station Gaming, likely just trying to get a couple of shots landed. But for totality in rotation, it is Team Gates meeting them. Purdy does go down. Los HD in the background having to veer off course. So Purdy is trapped and likely unable to be saved.
He stopped.
So, yeah, it looks like Los does want to take this fight, or maybe lost a tire. Maybe a little bit concerned about where he's rotating to, but Purdy is in a really rough spot.
Yeah, he's essentially done at this point. Gonna walk up, just get the kill points off of it. But again, you gotta make him work for it a little bit, because see, off in the distance, the rest of Totality can try to do something with this. Mossy steps forward, takes a little bit of damage, gets the kill. Now he should be able to retreat back out of this.
So it looks like Totality did want to, Totality did want to step up and try and help their down teammate, but unable to do so. Team Gates picking up a little quick hit there for them. So for Team Gates, looking at the scoreboard, they're not doing terribly, but they're just not quite having that, I guess, that high-flying success you might expect from someone qualifying for Berlin.
Well, specifically because they also tend to get the circles right now.
That's true.
They've been very blessed with where their circles are going, and we just have kind of seen them struggle a little bit. It's almost like they're playing a little bit differently than they were. You know, that there's that whole confidence factor that comes into it. Whenever you have a rough couple of games, it's kind of hard to get your feet back underneath of you.
No doubt.
I can kind of get that. That's what's going on with Gates right now. They're not playing with the same confidence that we usually see them play.
Well, the criticism we've heard from Team Gates is that they play a generally passive style, play the zone, don't get involved until the late game, but really, strategy is strategy, and if it works, it works. So, yeah. I mean, ultimately...
Vitality! No. Taking another early loss. Again, it's these rotations, man. They just keep coming across people and losing members so early.
Cloud9 so active here in the early game, and it really comes down to positioning. They're in a great spot in the center of the zone. They found themselves some hard cover, and Moody and Frolic are landing those initial shots, just going their way right now.
And you can see Alliance is trying to get this. They really want to get these kill points off of it. Finally starting to get the spin out on it. They're locked down into a position. They're having to jump out and try to figure out how they're going to get away from this. Long-range shots coming out from Alliance, so you can see damage is finally starting to tick on a D-Master.
For Space Station Gaming, they are lucky just to get away from that vehicle before they got blown up, but it looks like they're now out of the fuel and into the fire as both T-Bone and company just laying into them as Vexel goes down, D-Master having to prone out, but he will go down as well. But here comes Zappa stealing the kill, and Sigsy will only pick up 1 out of 2.
Oh, and that's kind of what you expect from Tempostorm. They like to play this little sneaky position way on the outside of it, but we do have Space Station Gaming caught up into a little bit of a fight with Cloud9, taking down and killing Moody.
So Moody now going down the AWM coming out of the game is going to be big for everyone really who wasn't holding it at this stage, but for Cloud9 losing one here early, but there's Face. Quietly
right next
coming
to
in on the edge of the zone.
I really love this position too. Like, we see this area of the map get a lot of good transfer locations going through it. Teams will try to cross back and forth, still very centralized in the map. This road tends to run right across a high ground position, so really you can kind of dictate fights to the south and to the north and just kill people as they come through.
Yempty desperately trying to get the motorcycle either in or out of this shack, choosing for out at this stage. So for FaZe, do you think they adjust and maybe try and play a little bit more cautiously? Are they going to change up their rotation strategy? They're sharing some ground with the Knights. They might start getting that audio information relatively quickly. Does FaZe change it up?
I don't know. Like, knowing the way that FaZe plays, they very much play their game. Even whenever they feel like they might be in a bad position, they'll still play the way that has gotten them there. All the way through this past couple of months, they've performed. Now, it is kind of the running joke that FaZe kind of has a weak day 1 and then a ridiculously strong day 2. But they need a very strong day 2 tomorrow.
Absolutely. And really, I don't think they can look past today. They have to be looking game to game. And we're talking about their historical performance. They've been behaving the same way for so long and have been so consistent. But is that acting as a bit of an issue for them because now teams are starting to read them better. They know how they do their rotations, and really they've been struggling. Obviously, PGI in its own right was a disappointment, but this initial start also kind of mirroring that issue where they're just not hitting those transitions.
Well, another team to talk about in that same regard is Ghost. Ghost got #1 in North America. They've been having not necessarily the best day either so far. Now, granted, whenever they did qualify in PGI North America, they had 2 members of Envy on the team.
Yes.
So this is one of the first times we've seen Ghost playing together with all 4 in quite a while. And we do have Totality that has come in contact with Knights and getting Texas down.
So Texas going down here early is not too big of an issue for them. He should be safe, but again, losing those vehicles this early in the game may be problematic. We are moving away and further towards Pachinki, where Method is still holding strong, having lost only 1 player so far. Vitality and Envious actually translating right past Space Station Gaming, as well as I imagine Alliance has rotated away, but Vitality now in rotation. Getting through this open field might be problematic. Envious also in their vehicle, so for now it might be a bit of a road race.
You can see that everybody's cutting across this side. The guys from Cloud9 were taking shots, but they were taking shots at 2 different squads. Now it comes down to playing this rough zone of the map. There are so many dead zones inside of it. Tempostorm with some nice shots onto Vitality. They just can't figure out where to go. Nowhere is safe.
I think they're spending a little bit too much time in their vehicles. Araxi having to jump out. Now it's going to be a
RTS tag. That's why he's coming in, just joining into this, and Method in a lot of trouble right now.
Envy is dominating right now. They do have 2 downs, but no finishes yet. Jesse Lowe trying to finish that off. Method finding themselves in low ground with no cover, just spamming the smoke as Jesse LOL, just trying to finish off that down player, but it will be Zampa stealing that from him. So for Envious, I mean, they're in a great spot. They have nowhere to go, and they've just been killing everyone around them.
And yes, and we do have Dave actually that's over there with the guys from Dignitas right now.
Hello, I'm with CeeLo from Team Gates. They were the first team eliminated this game. What happened, man?
So we didn't get many cars. I mean, usually we like to have 2+. We only had 1, and so me and Morty had a bike, and we dove to a barn center circle, and we made an unwise decision against our own basics list we have for ourselves to not make an uninformed rotate. It didn't turn out well. Me and Morty died, and Mossy and Exco died as well on foot. So we'll bounce back, no worries.
We'll bounce back. Back to the game.
Thank you, Dave. And for those of you who missed that, that was FaZe also being eliminated. Unfortunately for them, the woes continue, that 12th place finish. Method is holding on to 80 at the northern portion of the play zone. Energy also playing the edge. Space Station Gaming, relatively quiet so far. This game is all about Envy. Cloud9, however, still in a decent spot. Hopefully they can hold on to their hard cover here, but they do have a decent position.
Well, they're actually kind of assisting Envy right now. They're holding this back position on them, kind of protecting them, so that way that there is no encroachment that anybody can come up over that hill. But now we're getting into the thick of it. 26 people alive. Cloud9 coming alive there. You can see Knights taking more damage.
Wow.
Circle pops again, and it goes Envy's way. Dignitas in the circle as well. They're just hiding inside of a shack, though. Well, are they still in that, like, not really a shack, the wooden one that's all broken down there?
There's nothing for them to do. And really for the Knights, they did take that hill. They finished that fight with totality. They do have the hard cover. That's going to be a vehicle graveyard joining them as well. Lots of bodies out in that field. Cloud9 in an interesting spot here. They are zoning. You actually can see Penta's head. There you go. So Frolicker now taking aim. Penta not being punished there. But for Cloud9 and Envious in a great spot. But for Tempostorm, now having to use vehicles this late in the game, they're still 4 strong, but they're making a mad dash to the center.
And they have to be very, very careful about how they reposition. I do like the point that they're playing along, but now Method having to move them in that position. Remember, we talked about the fact that they were very loud earlier. Knights now sees where Tempostorm is, knows that there's probably somebody right down that hillside. Lost the helmet, though. This could be very risky from them. Remember seeing lots of damage come Texas's way. 2 shots, gets dropped, but the return comes back. Now look at this. Sharp shot turns back around, trying to make sure he gets something out of this, looking up the hillside. 8C's just being so quiet, though, trying not to give away his position, but everybody is just dying around him. He's just watching Knights player drop and then another one drop.
Tempostorm has a really nice setup here. I like the way they're going high-low here. Sharp shot gets the flank, and down go the all the Knights eliminated.
Yep.
So AT's stuck in the blue. Tempostorm actually losing 2 as well. They're going to have to retreat back across to get these reses. The high-low position worked well for the pinch on the Knights, but now they're going to have to make a mad dash to try and get these reses. Going to be critical, but AC is going to see Dre on the way there. Sharp shot wide in the open. AC has to make the choice. He has to make the choice. Do you go for a team wipe or you try and get the zone? And he has to go for the meds.
They don't even see him.
And
we saw Sharp
Tempo's in trouble too. Look at Tempo. They now have to try and make it, and the zone is not going to allow that to happen. So that mad dash is only cost Tempostorm time.
Does he see it? He wants to play this quiet. He doesn't want to give his position. Just going to run forward. Nobody sees him. This is like ninja gameplay right now. Etsy is just kind of slow walking this. Now the other guys that were down beforehand might see, but no, it looks like no information was fed.
Wow.
He is just following right behind him. Let them clear the path. Other people will shoot them. Sure, you don't get those kills, but now you have all of this defense that's happening in front of you. Just gives you a better position.
AT just saw 2 players go down. This has got to be completely counter to what AT wants to do. And for those of you wondering why he's not shooting, he's just trying to get placement. There's still 10 teams up. This is the smart play, but I'm not sure if he saw Zampa and Maluk go down. He could eliminate Tempostorm here, but he's just not going to risk it.
He doesn't want to take the shots until he's inside the safe zone, because you don't want to get caught in one of those fights where you're just getting ticked so hard. Because we saw a second ago, this blue zone hits hard. This is competitive circles. So he just wants to stay ahead of it, get inside the safe zone, and then take the shots if they're available.
Obviously, it might seem like Tempostorm should take a look around, and they will see now. They're taking a look behind them. Tempostorm does turn around, and they check on AC, and he is eliminated. So missing the opportunity, trying to make the smart play. That is Method going down 9th place.
The moment he made it inside the safe zone, they just heard it, spun on him, took him down. That does keep Tempostorm alive, down to 18. 8 teams still alive right now. You can see that Envy's done this nice split coming through here where they're holding this low ground position. Cloud9 starting to push forward. They've heard where Envy is at. Froliker's holding a low ground position on this, trying to see if he can get some more information. Meanwhile, we've got the guys from FlyQuest right on the other side of it. Everybody you can see is starting to zone in very slowly onto Envy because they know exactly where they are. And let's be honest, Envy's been killing everybody. They got 11 kills right now.
Venerated moving some vehicles around. Tempostorm trapped outside the zone. Dignitas in the same position. They've got a very tough run ahead of them. There's nothing for them to do, really. Just try and get some utility smokes down, maybe use a vehicle or two. Really, for Dignitas, uphill battle ahead.
The moment they hop inside the vehicles, though, Envy has just beat it in on them. They have to try to make the decision, do we run, do we use smokes? I think that most of the vehicles have popped tires off in the distance on it. I mean, there's nowhere really for them to go. They have the option of just running in front of the circle. It's a matter of who's going to get the kill onto them at this point. But notice on the mini-map, very slowly and steadily, we do have Cloud9 sneaking up into this. They want to line up and get this information, and every time you can see anybody that goes loud from Envy, they just sneak up just a little bit more.
So C9 now having to make the move out of their compound. They're getting closer and closer to Envious. Energy also arriving, having to rotate still on foot, but Space Station Gaming is there as well. This entire bottom right portion of the play zone accounts for 4 of our remaining teams, and Energy now getting at Space Station Gaming here, who really, they can't do anything. Punage trapped as well.
You can see Smurfs trying to run down. It's going to be all she wrote for Space Station Gaming. Now, Punage still holding that little bit of a location. He's not inside of a safe zone as of yet. But with NRG going a little bit loud, that kind of forced Cloud9 to turn back around and look. Meanwhile, Envy's still holding that same spot that they were holding beforehand. The only weak point is if somebody gets on the hillside. But all these teams keep getting all these fights back and forth, giving away their position. So now Envy can get a little bit more of a bead and has an idea on who's encroaching around them.
So Energy does have the ability to play a bit of a spoiler here for Envious, who might be more concerned about Cloud9. But Envy has to deal with fights on all fronts, but they're really concerned about Dignitas. That's the last team they saw. Energy pressing slowly.
This could be great from anybody from Dignitas, though. If they can have anybody still alive, it's just a matter of can NRG distract Envy for long enough for Dignitas to make some type of move. This is where those third-party fights become so important. As again, Cloud9 is just on the other side of it, bringing out the Molotov, which could be an interesting play, but I'm willing to bet he wants to go with the frag.
I don't think they want to throw that uninformed grenade just yet, give away their position. Cloud9 also on rotation. I think Energy is playing this well, just being patient. Cloud9 now arriving behind. Envious has spent so much time as Venerated turns on Energy, so they know they're there. Now they have to react. Cloud9 has an opportunity to find a second. Wow, that's 2 down. Venerated goes done, and that is it for Energy. And now it's going to be Cloud9 going right at them to try and follow up. Riem does go down. Envious trading with C9. That's 2 down for them. That's 2v2 now. Froliker looking to try and get an angle here, but Caden comes on the flank.
Now it's all onto Stab. He's the last person up, does the spin back around, but no, Envy just exploding. That is 2 teams. They just wiped out. We are now down to 6 people alive, 3 teams up and active.
Stab still, I mean, as far as holding onto that angle for Stab, nothing he could really do. Jesse Alaba now getting pressure. It is Froliker getting it down.
Still alive. Somehow, Dignitas managed to make it right over to the shack. They're holding down this position. Solo player still up and alive.
It's Tempostorm.
Tempostorm.
I keep on reading the WC. I'm like, who are we missing? But it is Tempostorm. Sharpshot is holding the zone. Envy does now have to move to Dignitas, something we wouldn't have expected so far. We see the Bushman Sharpshot. He could do so much damage. He could do a ton of damage here if he's not spotted. Envy does keep 3 up. So it's a 3v1v1 for them. They have the vehicles. They're going to have to use them for cover. They don't want to run into the open. They don't have the information to just make
Venerated's going right to where he's at. You can see that he's going for that position hold. Sharpshot bringing out the grenade. Is he going to just kamikaze this? Venerated doesn't see him. Oh, that's going to be huge. If any given point, Sharpshot can just pop up. Look at this. Still didn't see it. Oh, my God. What is up with these ninja plays today?
Sharpshot is standing right in front of Venerated. They cannot see him. He doesn't have to move either, so now he just has to wait. Who's going to get eliminated? These weapon switches. He's got the AK. This could be massive. Wookie Bookie also doesn't have to move. Really, it's Envious who has the least amount of information here.
And everybody is just spinning right around him. Dignitas hiding out way in the distance, already inside of the safe zone. We might actually see this entire circle, no action happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very possible. We do hear some shots come out. Venerated Again,
I think he's just
his
testing
spider
shots.
senses are tingling. I can sense it through Venerated. He knows
Look at
something's
him.
up.
He's so antsy. He's looking around everywhere. He's like, I get a feeling something's around me. Something's going on. Trying to make sure he's looking at all these angles. They're expecting somebody to push out way in the distance. They
Yeah.
knew where Dignitas is at. They know the fact that they.
Oh,
there it goes. There it goes.
Oh my God, Venerated. And now it is a 3v1
yep.
situation. Wookie Bookie has to get the utility out and make a mad dash, but this is looking very much like
Circle, yep.
Envious is about to secure their first win.
And so now it's all onto Wookie Bookie. You can see that he does have the guns to maybe make the shots. But Envy in a great position. You can see that they're holding multiple flanks onto this. Good shots coming out on both sides.
Now they know
but
where he is.
Again, Wookie's been under fire for so long. I have
Yeah.
to say that he's probably burned through most of his meds at this point. He's probably taken a lot of damage. He still does have his helmet, so it means he might be able to go for
You can
peaks.
see he's emoting.
He's emoting. It's like, I see you. I see you over there. He's calling the
I
shot.
imagine if Wookie Bookie wants to make the smart play here, he'll likely just take the play zone and
Look at
allow
the-
it to
he's
take
already
it.
got shot in the head
He
once
got
right
shot
there.
in the head already. I think really deny the kill points, jump in the zone, maybe, but Wookie Bookie could go for the hero play, but he's got the low ground, a little bit of utility.
Oh, and he says
that's
no.
that. All right,
He
so
takes himself out there. So with that, Envy coming out first place, strong performance. Look at those
Wow.
kills. That is 20 kills. That means we had this lobby with 64 people in it. Almost a third of all the players were killed by Envy.
amazing game from them, really playing that position. They set up great and really just putting pressure on everyone they saw. Caden and Venerated going absolutely bananas. Jesse LOL and Check Shooter playing the supporting roles, but ultimately a team effort. And really for Envious, amazing effort.
And a lot of North America on that leaderboard in the top 5 spots, I got to say. I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised by that one. EU has been performing very well, but I know our analysts have tons of stuff they want to break down inside of that game, so we'll throw it over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Moses and Matrim. Thank you so much. Excellent first cast for you guys. My word, I nearly got the giggles when I was just watching Sharp Shot just do that in as a bush Wookie. And Envious just going around him like a pride of lions. But Envious, oh my God, that final circle, Borosaurus.
Look, you want to talk about that's classic NA PUBG, where you have the bush monster and you have the guy emoting behind the shed when they know they lost. But you know, I gotta say, Martin, I had Envious down for 21 kills, and you were like, no, that's not set yet, and it ends up he kills himself.
Yeah.
The nicer points, and we know it. The kills down to the last, it could be a difference of who gets third, fourth. You know, it's so important.